Hello, I'm James Ham, Lone Star Dog Trainer here in Dallas, Texas, and we're going to get started with the Garmin Delta SE educational series of training videos, which are going to give you a good basic idea on how to take your dog from where you are today to where you want to be incrementally over time using the Garmin electronic collar, the Delta SE, yourself, good training fundamentals, your leash, and good planning. Heel, place. Good job. Bro, get it. Good. Fetch. Obviously, you've purchased a Garmin Delta SE collar and you're going to use that in your training process, but you'll need a couple of other items. Nothing major, nothing very expensive. Generally, when I work outside in the beginning stages, I use a long line. Long lines are anywhere from 10, 12 to 15 feet long. They come in cotton or biothane. I like the biothanes because I work in wet grass a lot. They don't get soaked, they don't get dirty, very easy to clean. I have two lengths of leashes, 6 foot and 4 foot. The 6 foot I use a lot when I'm introducing a dog to the electronic collar indoors. I use it a lot when I'm working on small recall drills. The 4 foot leash I use when I teach smaller movements like sit and down, or even introducing a dog to play, so I don't have to worry about as much slack hitting the floor, wrapping around, or my arms extending to manage the leash right. I do use a lot of food in training paired with the electronic collar and leash guidance, so I have a food pouch. Some people call it a bait pouch. And then the last thing, this is a bed that I can use as a bed, a cot, a place as I teach the dogs to move away from me, hold their position, remain stationary. I'm going to use this. You don't have to have a cot. You can have a platform, a wood box, a bed, anything that you can use, but we want to teach the dogs to move away, hold that position, whether they sit, stand, or lie down, but that which separates the dog from the surrounding environment, it can discriminate this separate from the floor. It is extremely useful. But again, the basics, what you need is yourself, your remote collar, the Garmin Delta SE, long line, 6 or 4 foot leash, food pouch, and your cot, bed, platform, mat. 1, 2, sit. So the very first thing that you want to identify is where you're going to do your training. When you start training, you're going to start with the basic concepts of finding your dog's level and introducing your dog to the collar through what we call collar conditioning. And when you do collar conditioning, you want to, not necessarily a remote location, but you want one that is free of distractions. When I'm collar conditioning a dog, identifying a level, I like small spaces, because the dog isn't going to be distracted by anything. Some dogs can't do it in the grass because they sniff the grass really hard and it becomes a big distraction for them, while other dogs are benevolent about the grass and you can work them outside just fine. I'm going to make sure that that dog is rested. I'm not going to try and train a dog that's been running around in the backyard for 3 hours and it's 95 degrees in North Texas heat. I'm going to put the dog into the kennel for a minimum of 1 hour prior to a lesson, but no more than 2. After the lesson, when the dog has learned something, I'm going to put him back in the kennel for at least an hour so he can soak that up and absorb it. Those are things that you can do to put yourself in a position to manage what happens with the dog. The better you manage, the more successful you're going to be. So freedom and dog training don't always go well until the dog is trained. Lots of people want to give their dogs a lot of freedom, and freedom is not their friend until the dog is trained and you have control. Rest and timing are huge for both you and the dog. Most people love to train early in the morning. Some dogs really do well late at night. Heat has a factor in this. If it's too hot, the dog's duration of training is going to go down to 5 to 7 minutes before it starts to gas. Same is true if it's too cold outside. We get excitable, we want to use affection, we want to use tone of voice, but what we don't want to do is get frustrated. And when we're tired, we get frustrated easily. So if you are tired, if you are frustrated, if you've had a bad day, you can take a break. You guys can just sit down and watch TV. That's still training, but you don't have to go out there and struggle because you're tired. You can expect that time-wise, your dog is going to be able to train for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then at the 15-minute mark, it's going to start to fade off. You're going to see the dog start to yawn, Maybe his attention is going to be diverted. He'll start to act silly, do foolish things. That's an indication that you've probably gone 2 to 3 minutes too far. I would rather you work with your dog in 10-minute windows and have a lot of success and put the dog away for an hour after he's done it really well than push a little too far and it starts to come undone. And all that progress that you made isn't going to finish off as well as it would have if you would have stopped 2 to 3 minutes ago. I keep it really simple because we have to learn the commands, we have to learn how to handle the leash, we have to bring in the electronic collar. It's a lot for you to do. So if we keep it simple in the first week, everything after that will become better because we will be smooth with the devices that we use. Leash, electronic collar, tone, spatial pressure that we put on the dog. As we get more proficient with the leash and the electronic collar, giving commands and staying calm, the dog is going to become smooth. So we go slow, we become smooth. The dog learns slow, becomes smooth. Then smooth becomes fast. And then things start to look really nice. And we can move on to the next one. When you're introducing a command, the first couple of days is a bit of a struggle. You want to do that in a distraction-free environment. Then days 3 to 5, I'm bringing mild levels of distraction. Day 6 and 7, I take it someplace different and introduce more distraction at a distance that I can control. And then we start again. Week 2, we bring in more commands. Sit, place, here. We work on 3 major commands. And I'm going to work on the ones I did before, attention, staying with me, following me, and now I'm going to add 3 more. In a span of 4 to 6 weeks, you can have a remarkably better dog, remarkably better dog. And then you'll be able to go off leash with your dog, barring safety and managing risk. You know your own dog, so every dog has a vote in this. You have environmental factors that may or may not allow you to go off leash, laws, parks, access, safety, your dog's behavioral traits. But if you have a dog that is social, that is trained, that's benevolent to the surroundings, you're going to have a level of freedom that other people could only dream of. Because of your patience, your timing, your consistency, good leash handling, and the use of the Garmin Delta SE remote collar, your success level is going to go through the roof and you will be the envy of your neighborhood. But again, remember, dogs love calm. Don't ask your dog to do anything that you haven't trained it how to do. Be proud of your dog and don't push too hard, too fast. You have time. It's your dog. Have fun.